Welcome to this module, and in this module we're going to be working with rendering of the skin tones. So now don't forget, I had my first tone which I selected from my swatches here. So now I need to pick a middle tone which I'm going to be using on my croqui. But don't forget, before you do that, you need to select a new layer for that. So here I have a new layer which I am going to be working on. You can see open the eyes and turning on the eyes, there's nothing here. But on this layer, this is where I had my first skin tone. So now I'm going to be selecting the next layer, a fresh layer for the other skin tone. So now let me select, using my eyedropper, a middle tone. Okay, so I think I'm gonna be liking this here to complement this. Okay, so now all I need to do is to change my tool to my soft airbrush. So I prefer to use soft airbrush. So in some other tutorials you might be seeing online, they might be using another tool which is different from this. Yes, so everybody has different tools which you can work with, but for me I always prefer to use my soft airbrush. Okay, the major thing is that we end up as a very good result. So now let me start. Don't forget, a new layer. Let me see if the size of this tool is fine. Yeah, so I think I need to increase. Yeah, so let's start. So now to get your rendering perfectly, there are so many places on the body figure that no matter what the light reflection is, you are going to be seeing a dark part in it, right? So the first tone which I have was my light tone. Right now I'm trying to get my middle tone. So now my middle tone is like the tone that dominates the whole skin itself, compared to the light tone and the dark tone. The dark tone is where you have darkness on the body figure, right? The light tone is the whole what do you call it now, reflection of the sun bouncing out on the body figure. And the middle tone is like the whole skin tone itself. So now that was why I said in the previous module that I can decide to use this first layer as my middle tone. So it means I'm going to be getting the light tone and eventually just get the dark tone. So whichever one works best for you. Eventually I can use this skin tone that I have now as my dark tone itself, while I prefer to use this as my middle tone. Alright, so it all depends on whatsoever works best for you. Okay, so now let's do it this way. Let me start by working with this tone as my middle tone. Yeah, so I'm already making that mistake. I'm still working on that previous layer, so I'm supposed to switch. So now you need to understand some things. When you have situations like this, right? Now don't go too far before you erase. You need to erase, else you might not remember that you had already done something like this. Then you come back to it and you won't even just remember what you've done, right? So preferably erase it immediately, so it makes your work look neat eventually. Okay, so now at this point, let me explain this. Under the chin, there's always like a dark tone there, right? But now before I do the dark tone, I have to get the middle tone. So that is why I have done this middle tone under the chin, right? So now also at the breast area, Now these parts are close to the body figure, so that is why there's no how you're going to be doing it. There's going to be a dark tone also there, right? But before then you have to put the middle tone, because that is what makes it blend properly. So now if you realize, the layer which I am putting here is like a count of 3, 4, and that's to avoid the fact that some part now will now be darker than the other. So to avoid some parts being dark than the other, that is why I kind of register a kind of count of how many layers of paint I am putting on each other. So if you realize, all these parts now, there's still going to be a dark tone, but before the dark tone you need to put the middle tone first, so that eventually when you put the dark tone, everything just blends perfectly. Now if you realize, at this parts of the hand, I'm also leaving a part where the light tone reflects, right? So those parts now, those are where I know that there's a light bouncing on the skin itself. So because I have chosen to use this as my middle tone, so it means this is like my skin tone itself. So every other part is going to be giving me my dark tone. So preferably you work with the size that works best for you, depending on the kind of results you want to achieve. So you can keep increasing and also reducing your size, the size of the drawing tool you want to work with. So okay, just leave that, because the dark tone will still be there. So you can see I'm leaving the parts of the light tone. So now you need to understand something as well. Yes. So now, please watch this part very well. So at this point where I am doing the middle tone, right? So by the time I move closer to this part, you can see there's a kind of little tint that is fading out here. What I have done here is like putting 3 different layers of paint, right? But by the time I move on to the front this way, you can see, so it's like the count of layers I'm going to be doing here is going to be reduced, and that's because I want it to blend. So you can see with this now, it has blended perfectly with what? The light tone. So now if I am putting like 3-4 layers here, at the tip I'll be putting like just 1 layer, 2 layers, or just make sure that you are putting a layer that makes it fade out, blending to the skin tone itself. So let's do this again. So that is like around 4 layers of paint, right? So by the time I'll be doing this one, So I can see that two has made it blend. Now what I mean by blend is that you're not seeing any sharp line here anymore. So it blends perfectly to the light tone which I have there already. So the same thing that I did for all these ones. So what I'm just going to do here now is to do, so you can see everything is blending in. Oh yes, I've not even done my hand. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, too much. That is now looking okay. So I think different things. Yeah, so let me make everything more. I guess I have to reduce this upper part. So the layers I have for the upper part is different from what I have at the bottom part. Or let me just darken this more preferably. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you one trick that we also do, whereby you need not to worry about how dark it is. It might be looking too dark for you, but just maintain the same darkness for everything. Just make sure that it blends perfectly. So I think I can work with this. So now, preferably maybe if it is too dark for you, all you just need to do now is to go to your opacity, then reduce it, and I can decide to work with this. So those are little tricks that we work with. So just reduce the opacity so the skin tone works perfectly with whatever you want to achieve. So let me just continue. So for the face, so those parts, they are dark parts, and there's also like a reflection of the light. So on this part, let me work with my soft airbrush to blend the shape I want. It has to be narrowed. So for the soft airbrush, you might be seeing it as it is not erasing, and that's because the amount of erased has been reduced. So I always prefer to work with 2-3. So this works with blending perfectly, so it fades out excellently. So it's not like the eraser that just wipes it off totally. Okay, so I think it's narrowed. Yeah, so you can see it blends in perfectly. I wanted the tip of the ending to be kind of slimmer, so that's why I had to use my soft airbrush to erase that. Okay, so I think I love this. Okay, so at this point also I'm going to make, at this nose I'm going to make it narrowed, so watch me. So in your view you might be seeing it as it's not erasing. It is actually erasing, but it's just fading out bit by bit. So you can just increase the amount erased if you want it to be more quicker. So you can see that's erased. So we use this more when we want to blend to get some narrow aspect of what you've painted. Kind of satisfied a bit. I'm still going to be doing a lot of touches anyway, but for now I can still move on with this. So let me leave this for now. Okay, let me quickly do this smaller parts as well. Brush here, just more tiny. Yeah. Okay, so now let me write on. So at this part of the face where you have those, I don't know what the ladies call it, it's more like a blushing kind of effect at the cheek. Just switched. Okay. Yeah, so the face is coming out. So around the hair here, there's always a shadow too. leaving the forehead. Yeah. Okay, so if you can see, I'm trying to do the blending inside. I don't have a sharp edge, so the numbers of layer which I'm putting there now is just different. Okay, so it's actually blending in perfectly. Yeah, I love this. Okay. Yeah, so this is making a lot of sense now. Okay, so now I'm still having an error from this first layer which I did. Now let me go back to my previous tone. So if you realize this part is not blending well, and that's because of the other layer which I have done. Yeah, so this works. So now let me go back. So it's very easy to just select your previous skin tone because it's already in your color history. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm satisfied with that for now. So but if it is too dark for you, just come back, reduce. It's your choice. Yeah, so whichever one, I think I'll move with it. Okay, so now that I have this, let me continue by erasing all my wanted parts. Yeah, so you have to do this compulsory. Yep, too big. Don't be lazy about it, because eventually this is what we define if your work will be neat eventually or not. So don't be lazy about it. So now you can see a little bit at this point now is not erasing, and that's because it's worked on this layer. You can see now it is gone. So you have to pay attention to all those little details. Once you see it is not erasing on that layer, it means it's on another layer. Then look for the layer, then erase it off, rather than leaving it there or trying to overlook it, because eventually it's more like it's staining your paper size, right? So it won't make your work look neat eventually. So you have to pay attention to every bit of those errors that might want to destroy your work. And don't try to say you move on, you come back to it. No. It's better you trash it down immediately that you've seen it, because you might end up not even coming back to it. But when your work is going to be presented or will be assessed by anybody, they'll pay attention to all those details. So you can see I'm changing my layer to check where I'm seeing those small paints staining my paper size. Once you just sight it and you see that it is not erasing, just change your layer immediately, erase it, then switch back. It's as easy as that. So you can see my erasing tool now. I'm not chopping in or coming out whatsoever, so it has to be exactly. And make sure that it is straight and smooth enough according to the silhouette of the croquis you have there. Realize that I zoomed in totally, and that's because I need to see every little bit of what I'm working with. So it's best you always zoom in. So if you are making errors, you can see it immediately and just undo. So all I'm just doing now is to erase all the unwanted parts. Making sure I don't chop off from the silhouette of the croquis which I have drawn. So the process actually looks difficult. You might be thinking, why should I erase them? But if you really want the best result, you have to go through that process. One good thing about it is that once you have your croquis, you can have your different sketches on that same croquis. Just be changing your designs. The croquis becomes yours, customized. Because don't forget, in the previous module we used our own croquis, not a downloaded croquis this time. So if you haven't watched the previous module, kindly go and watch, so you see how we used our own customized croquis. Okay, so now that I'm done with this, now I need to look for a dark tone which I will be using. So all I just need to do now is to just add to my layer, because don't forget this has to be on another layer. Change my skin tone, so I can just use my eyedropper, or even from here I can look for my dark tone that is suitable. Then I work with it. If this will give me the best result of the dark tone I want. So let's try this out anyway. So you understand that we can as well use our color wheel. Let me reduce this a bit. Let's see if this complements properly. I don't think the skin tone will be nice. No, I doubt this won't be nice. So let me just change. Okay, so I think this should work. Okay, so I think this should work. So I'm going to place the timing and see. Okay, yeah, I think this should work. Yeah, this should work. It's going to give me a perfect blending, which I want. Yeah, so sweet. Okay, so let me reduce so I can see my outlines. Now to my layer. So now at this part now, at the hand, definitely we'll have a dark layer. That's because it is closer to the body figure, right? So definitely there's going to be like a shadow reflection of that body figure. So now, not to forget that now that I have this, right, so let me just increase this much more better so you understand better what I'm saying. Okay, so now that I have this part now, so now I have done like about 3-4 layers for this dark tone, right? So I just need to blend it. So I'll just be doing like maybe 1 layer, 2 layer to make sure that the outline will not be too sharp. So now I've done that. Let me also do this so it blends perfectly. So the same thing for this side, the reflection of that body figure. Then also blending. So you can see that it becomes more smooth. Yeah, nice. So the same principle because this now the hand shadow is going to be reflecting on this. So I'm just going to make it fade out there at the body. So while working, you can reduce your size, which is the size of the tool you are working with. So you continue to increase and reduce if you want it to blend nicely. So just increase, reduce, increase, reduce. If you want it to fade out, you reduce like that, like taping to nothing. Yeah, so I have this. So now let me blend this to the body. Okay. So this is just for the benefit of the cleavage. So the inside leg as well. No, wrong layer. Oh, jeez. Okay. So you can see it's very much easy to quickly get your errors and you move on. That's because they are on different layers. this point I'm working on blending it more. Okay, so at this point I'm going to be using my erasing tool again. So you can see how untidy it is here, but let's see after erasing. So I just realized that the previous layer, was still reflecting here. I just saw that it was looking blurry. So you can see, in as much as I'm on a new layer, right, trying to erase off, I'm still realizing that there are still some little stains from previous layer that I worked with. Okay, so we can see how clean this is now, right? So now moving on to the next thing. So what I really need to do now, I still prefer to pick one more tone. Yes, I still prefer to pick one more tone to kind of outline the dark tones. Let's see, this should work. Okay, so I just want to outline the dark tones here. Okay, yeah. And a new layer. Yeah, so it's popping out now. So you can see I'm not making it to go all the way down. It's just little parts that I would like the more of shadow to reflect on. So that's just where I'm putting it. Definitely I'm going to put it under the chin here. Not too much. So I'm trying to erase my middle tone here because I need a little bit of light reflection here. So I'm just using my soft eraser. heat. So I'm only using my soft airbrush now to bring out more of the light tone. Yes, I want this to blend nicely so it becomes narrowed at the end. So my soft eraser, you can see using my soft eraser, so you can see that. Blend this because I still feel it's sharp. Mistakes like this, just use your soft airbrush to blend it, fading out. Yeah. So now let me move on to the lips. Now selecting a nice lipstick. Let's use this. Okay, so you have to create another layer for this. And I start. So you can see for every layer that I did, I erased the unwanted parts, because I never can tell. It might have bounced out and I won't see it immediately, so preferably maybe on the safer side. Okay, so I am having the croqui coming out. That. Yeah, so I actually forgot something. Where's my dark tone? Yeah, I forgot to put my dark tone at the ear. This happen. Okay, so now that I have this, okay, so now you can see that it is coming out. So let me erase the unwanted parts. Alright, so yeah, I've come to the end of this module. As you can see, the croqui is coming out, right? Okay, so in the next module, we'll be working with the hair and lots of details for the face, so everything becomes sweet. Okay, so please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment. If you have questions, drop your questions while I respond to you. Thank you for watching. See you in the next module. Bye.